Thanks, Liam. Good morning, folks. 50 years ago, on the 28th of December, cowardly bombing attacks were carried out without warning in Belturbet, Clones and close to Pettigo in County Donegal. In Belturbet, a red Ford Escort contained the bomb which exploded outside Farley's bar. 16-year-old Patrick Stanley from Clara, County Offaly, was killed instantly. He had been helping a delivery driver make deliveries in the area when the truck developed mechanical difficulties. This obliged them to stay in the town overnight. Patrick was ringing home from a coin box when the bomb detonated and killed him instantly. He was trying to explain to his parents why he wouldn't get home that night. A local teenager, Geraldine, who was 15, was also killed instantly by the blast when she and her brother Anthony went to collect fast food as part of a family treat. 8 other people were seriously injured. About half an hour before the Belturbet bombing, a bomb contained in a blue Morris 1100 car detonated on Fermanagh Street in Clones. 2 men were seriously injured. Tragically, a local man, Patrick McCabe, died a number of days later when he fell from a roof while carrying out repairs to damage caused by the bomb. Approximately 20 minutes after the Belturbet bombing, a third bombing took place outside Britain's Bar in Munnagold, Pettigo, County Donegal. A woman was injured in that attack. The investigations into these outrages have been ongoing for 50 years. A review was conducted in 2021 and new investigative opportunities were discovered. This led to the appointment of a senior investigating officer earlier this year. The investigation is active, it's robust, and it is resourced. We are engaging with partners on the island of Ireland and elsewhere as part of that investigation. The 2 teenagers who never came home, their families, Mr. McCabe, and those who were injured deserve our very best, and that is what they are going to get. We are appealing for people here in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, and elsewhere to consider the matters raised here today. Does anything jog a memory? Do you have any information which might assist? Regardless of how minor you may think this information might be, it could be critical. Let skilled investigators decide. 50 years have passed. Families have suffered indescribably. Parents have gone to their graves without answers. Do you know something that you have held secret for too long? It's never too late to talk. Please contact us.
Thank you, Assistant Commissioner. I now ask Chief Superintendent Garda to give a more detailed briefing on the investigation and lines of appeal. Thank you.
Good morning all, and thank you for this opportunity to make our appeal, which is very much appreciated. Commissioner McElgunn has given a brief overview, and I'll go into a little bit more detail now in terms of our appeal. On the 28th of December 1972, 3 no-warning bombs exploded in Belturbet, County Cavan, Clones, County Monaghan, and Pettigo, County Donegal. 2 children, Patrick Stanley, just 16 years of age, and Geraldine O'Reilly, just 15 years of age, were murdered in the Belturbet bombing. Tragically, a local man from Clones, Patrick McCabe, also died on the 4th of January 1973 when he fell from a roof that he was repairing that was damaged in the Clones bomb. His death left a widow and 8 children without a father. Numerous other people were injured to such an extent that they required hospitalisation. This has always remained an open investigation, and there have been a number of peer reviews, but following the publication of an RT Investigates programme, a review of the Belturbet bombing investigation was initiated on the 3rd of August 2021. On completion of the review, following consideration of the review, I appointed a Senior Investigating Officer on the 19th of September 2022 to lead the investigation and an incident room was established at Ballyconneaut Garda Station. Sometime after 5 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972, the car used in the Belturbet bombing, a red Ford Escort, which is similar in appearance to the vehicle shown here today, was stolen from outside the home of its owner in Enniskillen, County Fermanagh. The Garda checkpoint was in operation on the border between County Fermanagh and County Cavan at Hallam Bridge Customs Post, and at approximately 9:05 p.m. the red Ford Escort approached the checkpoint from Northern Ireland and was stopped by Garda on duty. Unknown to the Garda on duty at the checkpoint, the red Ford Escort had been stolen in Enniskillen earlier that day. This car then proceeded to Main Street, Belturbet. The Garda on duty gave a detailed description of the driver of the stolen Ford Escort, which, photo fit number 1, was compiled. At 10:28 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972, a bomb which was contained in a red Ford Escort exploded outside Farley's Bar and McGowan's Drapery on Main Street, Belturbet, County Cavan. The 2 children, Patrick Stanley and Geraldine, were killed instantly. Numerous other people were injured to such an extent they required hospitalisation. Patrick Stanley was 16 years of age at the time of his murder and was from Clara, County Offaly. Patrick was survived by his parents, Teresa and Joe, who have both sadly passed away since, and 10 siblings. He was a keen hurler, Gaelic footballer and soccer player, and had recently won an All-Star for Gaelic football with his school, Ard Skull, Kieran. He had applied for cadetship in the army, and at the time of his murder was temporarily employed by local businessman Pat Jennings. Patrick was employed as a helper on a Callar gas delivery lorry. On this particular evening, there had been a problem with the lorry, so Patrick and the driver decided to stay in Belturbet overnight. When the bomb exploded, Patrick was in the public phone kiosk on Main Street trying to telephone his parents to tell him that he would not be home. Tragically, he was killed instantly. Geraldine O'Reilly was 15 years of age at the time of her murder, and she was from Drumacon, Stag Hall, Belturbet, County Cavan. Survived by her parents, Mary Kate and Joseph, who have both sadly passed away since, and 7 siblings. Geraldine was the youngest of her family and had completed her group certificate examination in the previous June, getting 6 honours, and intended taking up a career in nursing. Geraldine had come into the town with her brother Anthony to get some chips for her family. The car with the bomb was parked directly opposite the chip shop, and the explosion occurred while she was in the shop. Tragically, she was killed instantly. Teresa and Joe never got to speak to Patrick again. Mary, Kate and Joseph never got to speak to Geraldine again. And sadly, they passed away without seeing justice being done for their loved ones. Prior to the explosion, at approximately 9:50 p.m, a Ford Cortina was seen double parked outside Hunt's Pharmacy on Main Street. It is believed that this was in fact a Lagoon Blue Ford Cortina, registration number BIA 477, which was stolen from the Main Street that night. A witness gave a detailed description of the driver, from which photo fit number 2 was compiled. The witness also gave a description of the other occupants of this car. The first description related to the driver. There was a male, about 18 years old, 5 foot 8 inches in height, thin build, long, thin, pale face, long, dark brown curly hair, a very conspicuous nose, wearing a dark blazer, double-breasted, with wide lapels, collar, light-coloured shirt and a tie, and he wore a steel or silver band around his wrist. The second description is of a female. In the rear of the car, described as being about 18 or 19 years old, tall, blonde hair, coming down over her shoulders, parted in the centre and pushed away from her forehead. She was also described as being sharp-featured, pale complexion, dressed in a long, dark, red overcoat and polo neck pullover. The description of 2 men who got into the same car is that they were both dark-haired, hair not as long as the driver's hair, both about 20 years, appear taller than the driver of the car, and were what was described as dark, conservative clothes, well-groomed, spoke with northern accents, and all appeared to be well-dressed. Sometime after 9:30 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972, a Lagoon Blue Ford Cortina, registration BI 477, which is similar in appearance to the car shown here today, was stolen from Main Street, Belturbet. On the 2nd of January 1973, this car was found by the RUC at Crumlin, County Antrim. It was bearing false registration plates of another car. The Lagoon Blue Ford Cortina, registration BIA 477, had been noticed initially on the 21st of December 1972. When it was still there 2 days later, the RUC called the British Army, who carried out a controlled explosion. The car was destroyed by fire. The original registration plates for the Lagoon Blue Ford Cortina, registration BIA 477, which was stolen from Main Street, Belturbet, have not been found to date and are subject of today's appeal. The registration plates are similar in appearance to the plates shown here today, but may have been white in colour with black writing. On the night of the 28th of December 1972, at approximately 9:30 p.m, 3 men who were not known locally and thought to have northern accents were seen in Belturbet. Those 3 men are described by witnesses as follows. The first was described as being between 25 and 28 years of age, 5 foot 11 inches and 6 foot in height, dark brown or black bushy hair, not too long, and side locks. With a broad, round face, fresh, smooth complexion, well built, wore black leather or plastic wet look jacket with a zip fastener, a high collar turned up at the back, and side pockets, and the word Dunlop in white 3/4 inch lettering on the breast or sleeve of the jacket, large grey or white squares on trousers, and spoke with northern accent. The second person was described as being between 23 and 25 years, 5 foot 7 inches or 5 foot 9 inches in height, straight dark coloured hair, medium length and well groomed, a long oval shaped face with a pointed chin, a light build, wearing a black jacket with a zip, also described as having buttons, side pockets, bell bottom trousers, a collar and tie, who wore a watch with a gold bracelet. And the third person was described as being somewhat similar in description to the second person. Garda would like to identify these men and speak to them to see if they can help or assist us in progressing our investigation. At 10:01 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972, a bomb which was contained in a car exploded in Falmanor Street, Clones, County Monaghan. 2 men were seriously injured. I would like to remember a local man from Clones, Patrick McCabe, who died on the 4th of January 1973 when he fell from a roof that he was repairing that was damaged in the Clones bomb. His death left a widow and 8 children of a father, and Patrick's death highlights the grave and far-reaching implications that the Clones bomb had. The car that contained the Clones bomb, Blue Morris 1100, registration number 431 LZ, had been stolen from a car park in Enniskillen in County Fermanagh between 6:30 p.m. and 7:35 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972. Garda have received some information that a person who was missing fingers was observed driving a stolen Blue Morris 1100 on the 28th of December 1972 in County Fermanagh. And we would like to identify this man, to speak to him, to see if we can assist us in progressing the investigation. At 10:50 p.m. on the 28th of December 1972, a bomb exploded outside licensed premises called Britain's in Mullinagode near Pettigo, County Donegal. The bomb had been left beside the pub in a container. 1 female was injured, and Garda are appealing with anyone with information in relation to any of these bombings to make contact with incident from the Ballyconn Garda station on 049 952 5580. The Garda confidential line, free phone 1800 666 111. Crime Stoppers 1800 250 025, or Crime Stoppers Northern Ireland 0800 555 111. So to summarise, on the 28th of December 1972, 3 no-warning bombs exploded in Belturbet, County Cavan, Clones, County Monaghan, and Pettigo, County Donegal. 2 children, Patrick Stanley, who was just 16 years of age, and Geraldine O'Reilly, who was just 15 years of age, were killed in the Belturbet bombing. And tragically, Pat McCabe also died on the 4th of January 1973 when he fell from a roof he was repairing that was damaged in the Clones bomb. Numerous other people were injured to such an extent that they required hospitalisation. We are seeking assistance to identify the person depicted in a photo fit of the driver of a stolen car as compiled by the Garda checkpoint at Hahill Bridge. To identify the person depicted in the photo fit the person who was driving the car stolen from Main Street, Belturbet, as compiled by a number of civilian witnesses. To identify the driver and occupants of the car stolen from Main Street, Belturbet, as per the description provided by a number of civilian witnesses. To identify the individuals who were in Belturbet on the 28th of December 1972, one of whom was wearing a distinctive Dunlop jacket. For information in relation to the whereabouts of the registration plates from the Lagoon Blue Ford Cortina, registration number BIA 477, which was stolen from Belturbet on the 28th of December 1972, which have never been recovered. To identify the man who was observed driving a stolen Morris 1100 in Northern Ireland on the 28th of December 1972, who is described as having missing fingers. And any additional information which may assist Garda Síochána with our investigation. There are people out there who know who carried out these crimes. They may not have been able to speak at that time or since. Perhaps maybe they feel they were able to speak. With the passage of time, relationships may have changed, or as they're getting older, maybe they want to speak before an opportunity to do so is lost. I am asking them to make contact with the investigation team and to help Garda Síochána to try and get some answers for the families of those killed and for the victims and for those who were injured in Belturbet, Clonus or Pettigo. I ask anyone with information in relation to Belturbet, Clonus or Pettigo bombings, or indeed any other bombing, to contact the Incident Room Ballyconnell Guard Station at 049 952 5580. The Garda confidential free phone at 1800 666 111. Crime Stoppers 1800 250 025. Crime Stoppers Northern Ireland 0800 555 111. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. Happy to take some questions from the media. We'll do them through the microphone if that's possible. If you can just state your name and the organisation you're with.
Chief Super McGovern, Paul Quinn from Virgin Media News. Can I just ask you in relation to this, are you able to say that you're following definite lines of inquiry, and who do you believe were responsible, or was there particular groups or individuals that were responsible? Have you identified those, even if you don't want to publicly say?
Yeah, I won't publicly say for operational reasons, but we are following a number of lines of inquiry, and I suppose that is why we established the Senior Investigating Officer, and that investigation team now is working through those lines of inquiry.
Any other question there?
Yeah. Obviously, this is looking at these three specific incidents that have happened, and you mentioned there at the very end that you'd be hoping that maybe there are people out there that at the time wouldn't have felt as though they were in a position to go to Garda or authorities. You know, is it a case that will Garda be looking at, you know, obviously this investigation is three of these incidents, but is there any other kind of incidents that you might be looking into? Is there an emphasis that you'll be looking over the next few years as we kind of approach, say, you know, 40th anniversary of other bombings that happened around the country? Will you be doing similar kind of investigations?
Yeah, well, I suppose the bombings remain open. Investigations, and we did receive specific information in relation to the Belturbet bombing, which has led us to appointing a senior investigating officer specifically in relation to this incident. But anyone with any information in relation to any bombings, I would urge them please to contact Garda Síochána.
Chief Superintendent, Roman Garda, Northern Sound News. A senior investigating officer appointed and the incident room set up in Ballyconnell. I suppose 50 years on, and I suppose this investigation is very much alive, isn't it?
It is. Yes, it is. And look, we're conscious of the passage of time, 50 years, that poses a number of challenges. However, we've also advanced in terms of investigative procedures and techniques and forensics over that 50 years, and we're hoping that will assist us in terms of following our lines of inquiry.
So conclusion is, you're confident in a conclusion?
Well, what we're going to do is follow our lines of inquiry, and we'll see where that will take us. And it's up to the investigation team to follow the leads that we have, and that is the purpose of today's briefing, is, I suppose, to appeal for anyone with any information that can come forward to us. Please come forward. No matter how relevant or irrelevant you think it is, please let the investigation team determine that.
So yeah, 50 years on from the tragedy, how closely are you guys going to work with the PSNI, or how much are they going to commit to the investigation as well as British authorities?
Well, we have our open lines of communication, remain open. We have a good working relationship with our colleagues in the police service in Northern Ireland, and as the investigation team develop the lines of inquiry, and hopefully we will get further lines of inquiry from today's media appeal. I know that I suppose relationship will become more in depth in relation to this investigation. Thank you.
Assistant Commissioner, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think in a nutshell, Alan has probably given you a good overview where this is at. We are engaging not just with the PSNI but with other agencies, and we will bring those engagements where they need to go. But there is no line of inquiry that will not be pursued by us as part of this investigation, regardless of what direction that might point. And as I said earlier, this investigation is very much open. It is resourced and it will be robust. Our review of the file does demonstrate that there have been periodic reviews of this investigation over the 50 years that clearly demonstrated that as information emerged, action was taken. And so this is probably a more comprehensive review given the 50-year passage of time and some of the new pieces of information that have emerged. And as Alan has indicated, of course, some of the key individuals with information now are approaching the autumn of their lives, and now probably is the time for them to reflect deeply on that information they've held until now and to contact us with that information.
Seamus Enright at the Anglo-South newspaper. Certain people or certain persons alleged to have been involved in the bombing have been named in public forum in the past. Is that forming part of your investigation, and would you appeal to those people who are still alive, those guys who are still alive, to get in contact with this?
Yeah, I'm aware of some information that is in the public domain, and I'm not going to comment on that, or I'm not going to get into any speculation, but I would appeal for anyone with any information to please come forward to help us with our investigation.
Assistant Commissioner Julian Fowler, BBC News. To pick up the point on cooperation with the PSNI, obviously there's a political process taking place as well at the moment regarding historical investigations, and the direction of travel is to maybe close those down in Northern Ireland. Do you foresee that creating issues, and do you foresee maybe the cooperation ending at some point in the future?
Yeah, I'm aware of that background scenario, but this is probably a little different in that we are two police services who share an island, who have an increasingly strengthening relationship in latter years, and that relationship goes beyond just policing but also in the security context as well. So this investigation is in the context of us seeking assistance as opposed to an internal decision making. So I have never found the PSNI wanting when it came to a request for assistance in that regard, and I certainly believe that we will get full support from the Chief Constable and from his team as part of our refocused investigation into these attacks. Thanks, Julie.
Chief Super, just one more from myself, just in relation to the photo fits. I understand this is the first time that the Garda have publicly released these images. Why has that taken so long, first of all, and obviously the two photo fits, the person that arrived in the car which exploded and the getaway car, you assume that is the same person, obviously?
Well, I suppose I don't want to get into previous investigative strategies or decisions made around previous investigations, only that the investigation team now at this time feels this is the right time to release these photo fits. And I suppose I urge members of the public to have a look at these photo fits and see, does it jog a memory or do they recognise anybody in these photo fits?
And the same person?
Sorry?
You believe that they're
I don't want to cloud people's judgment, and I don't want to, I suppose, make statements. I will let people come forward with information themselves, if that's okay. There's certain, I suppose, information that we've given out today for the purpose of the briefing, and there's a reason for that. I don't want to be putting words in people's mouths, so thank you.
Can we take one last question?
Yeah, just on that investigation, obviously this is a new form of investigation. Paul has just kind of mentioned there, obviously the photo fits haven't been released before. How would you say that this has changed to the initial Garda investigation? How is it different? What are the strategies? Have the strategies changed significantly over time?
Yeah, again, I suppose I spoke a bit earlier on in relation to how investigative techniques and procedures would have developed over 50 years, obviously, in addition to forensic technology. Without going into details about what information we do have or investigative strategy, it has improved, I suppose, significantly over 50 years.
And forensics, you mentioned there, is a part
Yes.
of that?
We're liaising with Forensic Science Ireland, and I won't go into any more detail than that, that's okay, in the public domain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.